My Geeky Life.
Project Blunderhawk. Hello friends, and welcome to Project Blunderhawk. Been away for a while from the channel. I won't be doing too much to the channel for future until I get a new laptop with more memory to actually save the videos. Might go back into it then, but started a new project that I thought might be handy for anyone else that's trying to go through this project as well. Basically, to fill out my Heresy army, which I haven't introduced on the channel yet, but I've done Raven Guard. I've got an event coming up in August, and they said you can bring along a Lord of War. So I saved up for a bit and procured this kit from Forge World, the Thunderhawk kit. Kit's about 10 years old, so it's not perfect anymore. It would have been probably easier to do it when it was new and the casts were new. So I've already found a few issues that's going to need some work, and that's why I thought I would upload a video and go through my process of building this kit and see if there's anything that other people can benefit from. First stage of the kit, you can already see I've done is I've removed all the gates from the pieces, which wasn't too strenuous. You just use a small hacksaw. I've got a tool, I'll just get it, bear me a second. Right, we're back. So the main tools I used for removing the gates is I had this thing. It's not the most best tool that GW do, but it was good enough for sawing off the large gates. And then very carefully with these, where the gates attach to the model, you'll probably have to use a knife or a file to get the pieces flat off of the last bits of gate off of the models. But be very careful when cutting through resin with a hobby knife, because resin is not easily cut by a hobby knife and you can easily slip and cut yourself. So I tend to do it just a little bit of gate at a time, you know, dig into it a little bit and then cut down on it to chop that little bit off and just work my way through the larger gates. But yeah, this you can also, if you've got a good pair of snips, you can usually snip the gates quite close to the model, so you don't have too much to shave off. So these are the main tools that I used in removing the gates, and you'll need some green stuff for any bubbles. Fill in any bubbles that you find. I didn't actually find too many bubbles on this model, so it wasn't really a big deal. Later I will need to do some filling. I'm just trying to work out which is the best filler to use. So some people say milliput. Green stuff obviously I'm very familiar with, but for larger gaps I'm not sure what's the ideal one, but I will try some of them and I'll let you know which ones I get on with. The second thing to do or the first thing to do before even cutting off the gates, I usually went through the box and ticked off make sure that every piece in the box is ideal. With the cockpit, I would put that somewhere safe. They're quite fragile, and I've put that away in a box for the very last. It's the very last thing to do on their model. So that we'll look at that later. And yeah, looking to magnetize it, but I have to be very careful. So the next stage that I will do with this project is, well, the stage that I've done before. After clearing off the gates, I washed all the pieces in a box. I'll show some pictures of the box that I used. It's just an under bed storage box, and put it all in there with some fairy liquid, and then wash that off afterwards to get rid of some of the if there's any release agent, mold release agent that's on there, to hopefully get rid of that, so that when you paint it later, that the paint doesn't flake off. I've now laid out the bits to dry. I'll probably do some assisting in the drying, but the next stage after this is the next stage I want to do is to separate all the parts that that might be warped or need some extra work before putting the model together, and then I will work on those separately. It will require some either hot air, like was it like a hairdryer or hot air gun, or some hot water to usually bend the pieces back into place. So for example, this ramp piece is mostly in a good condition, but it doesn't quite the ramp when it's in it, there's a few gaps, so these two parts will need bending slightly back together. And you will see on this one that on one side there's a bit of bowing on this side that will need straightening out a little bit before assembly. So there are some other challenging pieces. I believe this piece here, you'll see that this piece out here is bending outwards when you look down on it, so that will need straightening out because it's a larger piece of plastic or metal or resin. That might take some time. It might also take some a vise or some rubber bands to hold it straight whilst it straightens out, but altogether most of it fits together okay. There's one issue with the rear and the front of the model. There is a gap where they go together. There's a gap that I of about 1.5 millimeters that needs filling. My idea with that is to put in, like, sandwich in a piece of plasticard between two of the pieces, which should make the back and the front fit together much better, but I will go through that process when I get to it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the videos. There won't be that many, but I will, where I can, when I have to do some work, I'll try and put a video up to say how I coped with a certain problem with the Get. I will, at the end of this, after this video, I'm just going to take I'm going to rearrange these pieces into pieces that might need some work with bending and stuff like that, and pieces that don't, and then I'll put a picture up to show you kind of what sort of issues what sort of pieces that might need some work beforehand. Thank you, and I will catch you all in the next one.